The United States has just been visited by a natural catastrophe, the Hurricane Helene. As America braces for impact, the Hurricane Helene's fury intensifies by the hour. Contrary to initial assessments, Thursday, September 26, 2024 saw Helene's calm before the storm, but forecasters warn of a drastic escalation by Friday morning. At 2:25 p.m. on Thursday, hurricane expert Larissa Abreu warned of escalation of the situation. Take a listen.
Good Thursday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Larissa Abreu. The latest advisory just in, and Hurricane Helene, now a major Category 3 storm with packing max sustained winds of 120 miles an hour. This is going to be a catastrophic storm as it continues to move north into the Florida's Big Bend region. A couple things we're still watching. Those strong winds will remain a factor locally here in South Florida. Stay with us for the latest updates.
Helene, now a Category 3 hurricane, is bolting relentlessly in the Gulf of Mexico. Its winds strengthening to 120 miles per hour. The National Hurricane Center predicts a Category 4 landfall with catastrophic consequences for coastal communities. Early reports on Thursday downplayed Helene's threat, with some experts suggesting the storm might bypass major population centers. However, radar imagery and satellite data by National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, has revealed more sinister and terrifying picture. Helene's central pressure dropping, its outer bands expanding, and its forward speed increasing. Let's have a look. By Friday morning, Helene's transformation into a behemoth is expected. Sustained winds may reach 140 miles per hour, with storm surges potentially exceeding 15 feet. Now, the National Hurricane Center warns of the life-threatening conditions, urging evacuations and emergency preparations. Helene's landfall promises devastating consequences, including inundation of coastal cities and low-lying areas, widespread power outages and communication disruptions, and unprecedented flooding. Now, DNA Criswell, administrator of U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, has held a press briefing on the situation. Take a listen.
As you heard, I did just finish briefing President Biden on the impacts that we are expecting to see from Hurricane Helene. And as I told him, we have been preparing for this storm for a number of days, and we began moving resources into Florida on Monday. I just want everybody to know that this is going to be a multi-state event with the potential for significant impacts from Florida all the way to Tennessee. And the president wants to make sure that everyone is paying attention to the potential life-threatening impacts that this storm may bring. And he has directed me to travel there tomorrow to assess the impacts. The entire state of Florida is under some type of warning right now, whether that's a hurricane warning or a tropical storm warning. And we expect life-threatening flash flooding in the state's north as the storm continues to move north. And so I need everybody to pay attention to their local officials. They're going to have the best information on the specific risks where you are at. We're already seeing impacts in Florida, and the forecast indicates that we could see up to 20 feet of storm surge. So just think back 2 years ago to Hurricane Ian. The peak storm surge from that was 14 feet, and we saw the amount of destruction, and 150 people lost their lives, the majority of them from drowning. So please take this threat from storm surge seriously. Residents that are in these areas, they can still take action. They can take action now to move out of harm's way. And remember that you may only need to go 10 or 15 miles inland to get away from the threat of the storm surge itself, because water is the #1 reason that we see people lose their lives in these storms. So please don't underestimate what the impacts could possibly be.
In the same vein, Vice President Kamala Harris made a broadcast as regards the response of the Biden administration towards the storm.
So before I begin, I will say a few words about Hurricane Helene. So the President and I, of course, are monitoring the case and this situation closely, and we urge everyone who is watching at this very moment to take this storm very seriously, and please follow the guidance of your local officials. And President Biden and I, of course, will continue to work closely with state and local officials to ensure that everyone is safe and to protect communities before, during, and after the storm.
Now you may ask, what is the Hurricane Helene all about? What is Helene, a usually female name attached to it? Why is it so? The hurricanes are powerful storms that form over the oceans, causing destruction and chaos in their wake. To identify these storms easily, the World Meteorological Organization uses a list of predetermined names. This list is reused every 6 years, unless a storm is particularly destructive, in which case its name may be retired. For instance, Hurricane Helene, currently affecting the southeastern United States, got its name from this list. To measure the strength of hurricanes, the Saffir-Simpson scale is used. The scale categorizes hurricanes from 1 to 5 based on wind speed, central pressure, and potential damage. Now, understanding these categories is crucial for predicting storm surge, flooding, and wind damage. For instance, Category 1 hurricane has wind speeds of 74 to 95 miles per hour. This means it causes minimal damage to buildings and some damage to trees and power. A Category 1 hurricane might knock over small trees and make some noise. A Category 2 hurricane has wind speeds of 98 to 110 miles per hour, causing some buildings to be damaged and windows to be broken. Now, this category is more severe, making it hard for people to walk outside. Now, moving forward, a Category 3 hurricane has wind speeds of 101 to 129 miles per hour. This category can cause significant damage to buildings and some collapse. Small buildings may even be destroyed, and roads may be flooded. Now, moving forward, a Category 4 hurricane has a wind speed of 130 to 156 miles per hour. By implication, it could amount to extensive damage to most buildings and even cause severe flooding. The entire neighborhoods may even be destroyed, making it hard for people to leave their homes. And finally, a Category 5 hurricane has a wind speed of 157 miles per hour and even higher. This could lead to catastrophic damage and almost complete destruction. Now, this category is the most severe, with the entire cities potentially at risk, therefore could be wiped out. So we now have an insight into what a Hurricane Helene is. Now, as the natural monster rages on, former President Donald Trump has got prepared to capitalize on it against his rival Kamala Harris. Already, Trump supporters are capitalizing on the Hurricane Helene to promote his presidential campaign. In a bold display, shirtless boaters sailed through Tampa's flooded streets in a boat emblazoned with a Trump 2024 flag, just as the hurricane was approaching. Now, this unconventional campaign tactic is part of a larger effort to rally support for Trump ahead of the November elections. Have a look. That was interesting. Anyway, more analysis coming your way. But for now, that's all I have for you viewers. Thank you for joining me